Yo, what's up? It's Mike the NBA guy. And after doing a video on Klay Thompson, I started thinking about the Warriors team as a whole and how good are they really going to be this season. Because for me, they're probably the most interesting team in the NBA, especially in terms of what their floor is versus their ceiling. Because looking at this team, they could be legit contenders, as many people are saying, but I think it's also possible that they just miss the playoffs. It's not unthinkable that they could actually miss the playoffs next season in the Western Conference. And so I want to talk about them and what, if I was to bet, how good do I think the Warriors are actually going to be? So, getting into it, looking at their stats, I've already talked about Klay Thompson, alright? I think he's going to be an all-star caliber player, but I expect him to be slightly worse than he has been in recent years, purely because big injury like that, I would expect his defense to go down slightly, okay? So overall about the same player, but just like a very tiny fall off. I expect him to be around somewhere around maybe number 20 in the league in terms of talent. Steph Curry, I expect him to win it. I made a video about how I think he could win the MVP, and while he wouldn't be my first choice, he's definitely, I expect to get some votes for it. And depending on how the season goes, he could win it. And I think Curry's MVP's chances depend on the rest of the team and how well they do. And looking at this team, it's going to depend on their record and what they can do. So looking at their pieces, they've got Curry, Klay, Draymond. All right, Andrew Wiggins, the number 2 overall pick, and Eric Paschall. And I'm forgetting someone. Who am I forgetting? Kevon Looney. I'm forgetting Kevon Looney. All right. These are probably what I would call their core for the next season. All right. Their main guys. And they may trade some dudes, and that could definitely be a big impact. But because I don't know if they're going to trade anyone yet, I've just got to go off of who they actually have on the roster. Okay. If they manage to trade Andrew Wiggins in the second pick for another star level player, then that could be huge for them. But I wouldn't be surprised if they actually take the pick and they give Andrew Wiggins some legit time and see if they can mesh well. Alright, last season, Andrew Wiggins had arguably the best season of his career. He was relatively efficient, 46% from the field, and 34% from three. So I actually read this wrong earlier. I thought he shot 39% from three because it is 33.9% was his field goal percentage, not 39%. So, no, he wasn't super efficient. But still, that's not terrible. And his efficiency should go up a little bit playing with guys like Steph and Klay. Steph Curry, legit superstar, top 5 player in the NBA. I fully expect him to contend for an MVP and still be the best point guard in the league. Alright, I think we will see the best season out of Steph we've seen since 2016. I'm very excited for him. Draymond Green is an interesting player, and I think he could be arguably the biggest factor on this team. His stats have gotten worse every single year since 2016. All right, that was the best year of his career, no question. He was very efficient. He shot 39% from three, 49% from the field. All right, a block, a steal and a half, 7 assists, 10 rebounds. Dude was great, 14 points. Dude was fantastic that year, and he also arguably should have won Defensive Player of the Year that season. I believe he won it the next season. Every year since then, his points have been going down, his efficiency has fallen off a cliff. He shot worse from three every single year. Okay, it's gone all the way down to 28% from three this season. And he's also gotten worse from the field. In the last couple years, his field goal percentage has gone from 49% to 39%, which is bad. And it's really bad considering he's been playing with Kevin Durant for most of this time. So it's not like it just fell off this year. It's been steadily falling off, for the last several years. So this didn't just happen out of nowhere. It's been happening despite playing with Kevin Durant. Even if his points and stuff and his other stats go down, his efficiency should not have been worse while playing with Steph, KD, and Klay, but it is. So I don't know if the dude's just aging rapidly or he just got lazy because KD was there and he's not putting the work in. Obviously, he was out of shape last season. But I don't know what happened to him, but he's going to need to really get his ass in the gym this offseason, or I don't think he's going to be the kind of guy that he was in 2016. Everyone's been saying that, he's a ceiling raiser. He's not good on a bad team, and I agree with that, but I think he's not going to be nearly as valuable as he was 2 years ago if he just comes in out of shape and he keeps shooting like crap. Okay, because if he's a complete negative on offense like he was this season, then, I mean, the dude only played 28 minutes a game this season. That's his lowest since his sophomore season. And you'd think that even without the other dudes, Steve Kerr would be playing him, right? But he wasn't, because he was just straight up ass. He was cheeks on the floor. That's why he wasn't playing him 30 minutes a game. So I don't trust Draymond Green, and I actually don't expect him. I expect him to do better this coming season than he did this last season with no Curry, no Clay. But I think he's coming towards the twilight of his career. I don't think he's nearly as good as he was in 2016 or 2017 when he won Defensive Player of the Year. I don't think he's that guy anymore, unless he, maybe he proves me wrong, but he's been getting worse every year since 2016, and I don't think that just Curry and Clay coming back is going to totally fix that. All right. Other guys in this roster, Eric Paschall had a pretty good season, but he doesn't shoot threes at all. He's a straight up terrible 3-point shooter, so I think he could be like a solid like Lou Williams type off the bench, like a good 3-point shooter. Andrew Wiggins, who knows with Andrew Wiggins? I mean, if he could put up basically the same stats he put up last year, I think he could be a very solid third option on offense and like fourth best player. But who knows with him? He's such a weird player. Maybe he works out, maybe he doesn't. I think he's a big question mark. Him trying on defense is a big thing. Him being willing to play with the Warriors' pass-first system is a big thing because he's not a great passer or playmaker. If he buys in and he plays with the system, he could be great. He could be fantastic on this Warriors team. He could have the best season of his career. He could finally be like a borderline all-star level player and not a complete bust. But he also may not, and he may just kind of suck ass. So who really knows? He's a big question mark in my mind. Then who else is here? Kevon Looney's recovering from injury. Who knows how he's going to be? They've got a couple other random role players, but like nobody important, nobody I really care about. So this roster has no depth, pretty much. They don't have much defense, because I assume Clay and Draymond are going to be slightly worse than they have been the few years before. And they're still going to be, very good defenders, but I don't think, the two of them are going to be enough to just carry this team to being a great defense. It's going to depend on Andrew Wiggins being good. It's going to depend on guys like Kevon Looney and Jordan Poole being good on defense. And this team just has no depth. However, if you look at the 2015 Warriors, they also weren't a crazy deep team or anything. Like, they had Harrison Barnes, who was pretty solid. They had Sean Livingston, David Lee, Andre Iguodala. Like, pretty solid guys, but they didn't really have, like, what I would call a really deep team. They were mostly carried by Curry, Clay, and Draymond. And Harrison Barnes was, like, the third... No, it's actually Maurice Spites. Am I reading that? Maurice Spites was their fourth leading scorer? No, fourth leading scorer. Ahead of Harrison Barnes. He was very efficient. They had a lot of very efficient players off the bench, even if a lot of them didn't shoot threes. All right, Andrew Bogut was good for them. But it wasn't like a crazy deep team. But everyone who was there knows that the whole team bought in. They all bought in. They all played the system. I don't know if this team's going to do that. I don't know if Andrew Wiggins is going to buy in. I don't know if Eric Paschall is going to be ready to step down from being the first option last year to being like the third or fourth option this year. I just don't know what's going to happen. So this team could contend, and I really think there is a world where everything just goes to hell and they miss the playoffs. If they don't trade for anyone, or if they do trade for anyone, and they're not able to get that great of a player for Andrew Wiggins in the second pick, or, they don't make a trade, and the second overall pick is not that great. We haven't even talked about the pick. I have no idea who they would take. Like, absolutely no clue. Like, I'd assume they'd be, like, an alright bench player. James Wiseman's pretty good. LaMelo Ball, maybe, or, Anthony Edwards, like, pretty solid players. But, like, I just don't know. You know, it's just a lot of unknowns for this team. So if I had to guess, I definitely think they're making the playoffs. But honestly, I don't think they're going to be legit contenders. I don't. I don't see them winning more than something around like 50-ish games. I just don't think they have the defense or the depth. I think Steph Curry is going to be amazing. Klay Thompson's going to be very good, and Draymond Green is going to be close to his old self, but not quite. But I just don't think they have nobody off this bench, you know, except maybe Eric Pascal if he doesn't start, which I guess he probably wouldn't, unless they really start Draymond Green at center. I just can't see it. I can't see them being legit contenders. I cannot see them winning an NBA title next season. I definitely believe in them more than I believe in the Nets, but at the end of the day, like you want me to say that they're going to beat the Lakers or the Clippers. I can't tell you I see that. I cannot tell you that I think the Warriors stand a chance against the LA teams. So I think that a good season for them would be a second round exit, but I could totally also see them losing in the first round because their team just doesn't have enough defense or depth, and maybe even not making the playoffs. I don't think that's likely, but I wouldn't be utterly shocked if next year, because the West is going to be tough next year. You got the LA teams definitely making it. The Denver Nuggets are definitely making the playoffs. The Utah Jazz are making the playoffs. All right, the Dallas Mavericks are making the playoffs. That's 5 teams right there. The Houston Rockets are probably making it. That's 6. Then you've got all these other teams, the Pelicans, okay? The Spurs, if they do some kind of weird trade, although I would not bet on the Spurs. The Kings might get a little bit better, although I wouldn't bet on them. But the Pelicans have a very good chance. The Grizzlies have a very good chance. I'm forgetting someone. I said the Mavs. Rockets. The Thunder are going to be pretty good again, unless they trade Chris Paul and really go into this rebuild. They could definitely make it again. I don't believe in the Timberwolves. All the Portland Trailblazers are going to be good again. They're going to be contending. Like, there's a lot of teams who are going to be contending for the playoffs in the West. It wouldn't be insane for the Warriors to miss the playoffs next season, is all I'm saying. Don't be absolutely shocked if they miss it. All right? They're not going to be a trash team because they have Steph Curry, but if they miss the playoffs, it's not impossible for them to miss it, especially if Klay is a little slower, Draymond still sucks, and maybe Steph Curry is a little bit rusty to start the season. That's all I'm saying. So, that's the end of the video. That's my predictions. All right, I do think they'll make the playoffs, but they are not going to be contenders in my mind, and there is some chance for them to just really botch next season and totally miss the playoffs. So, thank you all for watching. If you could like this video, I'd appreciate it, and subscribe to my channel. Thank you.